Hey campers, speaking of dealing with bush. No. No. Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave. Yep, it's been a while. Back from a long road trip to San Diego to see the kiddos. Back in the man cave in Minnesota. Rainy, miserable out there, but hey, we're back at it. And what I'm working on now is a project that I started in San Diego. I wanted to share it with you. And while I was out there at the farm visiting the kiddos, I came across a tree that had fallen down in a windstorm that was an old oak that had been attacked by the boring beetles, a Japanese boring beetle, I think it is called. I was looking at it and came across a stick. Yep, another stick. Keeping in line with my big stick series, this one is a mini stick. Check it out. Like I said, I was in San Diego and I found a stick. I wanted to share it with you. This comes from my background. As you know, most of you know, I grew up in Africa, a country called Zimbabwe. Born and bred there, left there when I was in my middle 20s and moved to South Africa and then on to the United States. And one of the things this stick struck me right away. Growing up there, the native African tribes there carry with them a walking stick. They have a traditional walking stick and it's called the Knob Kerrie. And basically what it is a walking stick that has a big head on it. And it was for three things. One, it was a walking stick. Say hello to Mary. She's not happy with me having deserted her for 10 days. The three things about the walking stick, the Knob Kerrie, is one, it was a walking stick, just something to walk and stabilize you when you walk. Two, it was a hunting stick. And three, a defensive tool for the locals if they got attacked, whether it be by animal or another tribe or anything. It's a very traditional stick. And when I saw this stick on this tree, I knew straight away what I wanted to do. It was perfect for it. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm back in the man cave and I'm working on it now, and here it is here. Basically, the woodworking part is done. Now I'm going to seal it all up, let it dry up. I'm going to put some polycrylic protective finish on it just to harden it up and protect the wood. And hopefully it'll bring out the pattern of the wood. It really is a nice pattern. I didn't do anything fancy with it. I basically stripped the bark off, left some on here on the top, cleaned up to get the knob, and you can see it there. And now I'm going to just seal it all up. So what I'm going to do is show you the whole story. Come on along. To give you a bit of the history of the Knob Kerrie, it is a very traditional native weapon in southern Africa. Certainly it was really developed as a fighting tool, a throwing stick, where they would use the way they threw the stick, the weight of the knob on the top would become the point. They used to sometimes use it in place of a throwing spear, like the Zulus developed the short stabbing throwing spear and would have a spear point just like your normal weapon. But they developed this as well as something that you could actually use to fight with. Hit somebody on the head with it, that sort of thing, would cause enough damage to have your enemy go down. So that was one of the main reasons that this developed. And obviously it's a traditional weapon from a long time ago, and is also used as a walking stick, like I said, and a hunting stick. It's basically a throwing stick. And same principle, the weight of the knob on the top of the stick, when they threw it, would make it form that way where the knob was in the front, and that would be the point that would hit the animal. To hunt for, was game birds or small buck, like the little dikers and things like that, that were very small. And they would use these sticks, they would throw it, hit them, take them down, get up to the animal, and then finish it off. With birds as well, they would throw it at birds to knock them down, and that was how they used it, as a hunting stick. Today, though, it is more of a swagger stick. Certainly in southern Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Namibia now, these sticks are traditional. They used to use them in protests as a symbol of a weapon, because they were never allowed to carry a weapon. So that's what they used. It is still a big symbol today of manhood in at very traditional African families. And they would make them themselves. They would find these sticks with the knobs on them, carve them. They would really carve them. Now they're very ornamental. So there's a very quick background to it. Really developed during the Zulu Wars and things like that. So I've put a coat on here, just letting it dry. So I'm going to show you where I found the stick, the tree I got it from, and how I got it all set up. And hopefully you'll find a little bit of history in it. So working on this, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with it. I really like this stick. It brings back a lot of memories from back home. Not perfectly to what I remember, but it's the idea. And this would be your handle plus, and very traditional from back home in Africa. Commonly known, and I'm using the term loosely here on this one, is a Knob Kerrie. The idea being you have a knob on the end, it's a walking stick plus a fighting stick. It needs to be cleaned up. The way I like to use it is I have it that way, and when you grab it, you're grabbing that. The issue I'm having right now is this here is a little rough and a little bit too much, and needs to be trimmed back and smoothed off. So that's what I'm going to work on now. And then we'll work on the rest of the stick. I'm going to take probably most of the bark off and stain it, and maybe add a steel cap here just to protect the wood. And that'll be it, very plain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up and make it a little bit more rounder here, trim it back, round it off, smooth it off, because it sticks out too far for where I'm holding. When I'm walking, I'm right-handed, so I walk with it like this, with the knob here, you can see it facing forward, and it's actually very comfortable. The problem I'm having is this. So I've got to get rid of that and round it off more so it's a little bit more comfortable. So here you can see what I was talking about, stripping the bark. And this is about as close as I can get to what I'm looking for as well. You got the grip there, and you can see there's no longer that gap issue I had before. It's nice and smooth, and that'll work. And I'll clean it up some more. We'll give the coating an extra, and I'm just going to strip it down. Cleaned up the handle, and now I'm just sanding this down to smooth it off a little bit and tidy it up. And then when I get home, I'll seal it, maybe use something to bring out the wood a little bit better. Like I was saying, when I was on the farm and I saw this branch on this broken tree, which was an oak, by the way. I believe it was a California coastal oak, I think it is. They've been devastated by the Japanese boring beetle, I think it's called. And I am working on another big stick and came across an actual boring beetle in there from a stick that I got from this same tree. But that's another story. So this particular stick right now is made from California coastal oak. And one thing about oak is it is a very hard wood, which is one of the reasons I chose. I really like the idea of this, and this is going to be a pretty sturdy Knob Kerrie. When I found the stick, I immediately knew what I was going to do with it. And it's funny how that brought back so many memories growing up in Africa. I remember during traditional holidays, the locals would come down in full Zulu dress, war dress, with their big ostrich plumes and their skirts, their shields and spears and that sort of thing. And some of them carried Knob Kerries. And they would come around to people's houses. There would be about maybe 7 to 10 of them together and do a traditional Zulu war dance. It was something that stuck in my mind for the longest time. And although the heads were normally a big round ball, a lot of them developed into more of an oblong head. It was easier to hold, that sort of thing. So they developed that way. And it almost took on the look of the Irish shillelagh, which was the same sort of thing, used for the same purposes. In the First World War, the British soldiers in the trenches, when they were fighting hand to hand in no man's land, their weapons that they made, they called Knob Kerries, and they weren't anything like a Knob Kerrie, but they took on that traditional name of a Knob Kerrie, obviously from the colonial days during the Zulu Wars, like I said, and they named them Knob Kerries. It's in this day and age, if you look up Knob Kerrie, you'll see that it's used by a lot of different people worldwide, and they refer to them as a Knob Kerrie. It's just become a very traditional name for a hand weapon that has a knob on the top for beating your enemy on the head. Enough damage today. So as you saw, I was putting on the acrylic cover just to give it some strength. This is actually a Knob Kerrie, simply because it has the knob on the top, and you can see how it's shaped. If you look at the traditional ones today, they're made from really straight wood. They just have a basic knob on the top and were more manufactured. This is a more natural style, just taken from a piece of wood and carved to match. The only thing that's not really true about it is how thin this piece is here. Normally that would be thicker. One of the reasons obviously is you want some strength when you're knocking somebody on the head, or you're beating on some animal who's trying to have you for dinner. But it's the right size and the right shape, and that's all that counted to me. This will be a special walking stick for me. Brings back a lot of memories from growing up in Africa, and I'm just gonna show you quickly how it works. First of all, the head. The head is the knob in the Knob Kerrie name. Just so happens that this one turned out to be the perfect shape for me. By having the head shaped this way and facing forward when you walk, it has a natural tendency to hang forward. So when you lift it off the ground, it automatically goes forward for you to put your hand down. The angle of the stick just so happens to meet the natural stance of my hand when I'm walking. So you can see how it's at slight angle and it fits right in there, and you can see how it's in my hand there. So it worked out really well. Really liked it. I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. All I wanted to show was the bark and just a little band here, and basically stripped everything else off. Putting the acrylic on certainly helped bring out the wood, how the wood came out. And then you have the head, you can see there, and it's nice and smooth and very comfortable. You see here how it is the perfect size for me to just walk. Very comfortable. I do like it. So here's the whole stick. You can see it there. The Knob Kerrie, traditional Southern Africa walking stick. Don't forget now, like, share, subscribe. You know the story, and who knows, I'm sure I'll be back again with something else. Fishing, walking, hiking, or maybe a sharp shiny object. Just saying. Thanks for watching. Take care now.